Hello and welcome to my first video. Today I want to talk about helping students play the piano by using their voices. Normally I tell my voice students that they need to take the piano to learn to help their singing, but in this case I want to talk to the piano student about how using their voices will help their piano playing. My name is Dorothy Harwood, and I have a small voice and piano studio in Lynnwood, Washington called Harwood Studios. You can find out more about me at www.harwoodstudios.xyz. I want to talk about, I'm going to focus on a piece from Denes Agay's collection called Classics to Moderns. This is a beginning introduction to the keyboard. These are beginning pieces, many of them in 5-finger positions. And the piece I'm going to use for examples is called The Little Suite. And it's the book is published by Music Sales Corporation, distributed by Hal Leonard. So there's 3 little pieces in this suite, and the first song is in the meter of 2/4. When you're in a 2/4 meter, the first beat gets more energy than the second. And many times with the beginning students, they don't have the best sense of rhythm. So sometimes if they actually sing the rhythm out loud before they play it, it's a little easier than when they're fumbling with the notes as well. So the first one starts on an A, and let me show you what I'm talking about. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So you see, with that singing, I could easily put the stresses on. And the stresses, of course, are on the first note of each measure. Okay, another thing that you get by singing it is, let's say I didn't think it was dynamic enough. So I might sing it again and say, well, I think maybe if I energize it to the 4th measure and crescendo it to there, then I can feel that energy. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Now you can hear the shape of the phrase. If the phrase, the first 4 measures is growing, and then the second 4 measures is coming back down. So when you play it, they can feel the energy coming back down and going up. So the singing, when you sit higher, you got to use more energy, you got to use more air. And if you get that feeling of the movement forward with the voice, that also helps your piano play. Another thing that is helpful is breathing. Many times I listen to a piano player play and they're not breathing. And so as I listen, I'm running out of air. So let me play this again. There's one place where I take a big breath, and the rest of the time I make breaks, but I don't breathe. See if you can hear it. Right, halfway in between, I took a breath. So when you take a breath singing, you have to take time away from the note in order to breathe. The same is true when you play the piano, unless you want to, because you don't want to interrupt the meter or the flow. The rhythm has to stay constant. So in the 4th measure of this first suite, there's 2 quarter notes, a quarter note A and a quarter note C. In that place, the C I shortened by a eighth note in order to breathe. And when I play it, I also shorten the quarter note so that the listener can breathe. Now there are little breaks at the end of each measure. The first measure has a 4-note phrase, and the fourth note is a eighth note B flat. So I shorten the B flat and make it like a 16th note. And of course, in the next measure, there are staccatos. But in the third and fourth measure, the music is continuous. So I do not break there. In the left hand, there's a very steady rhythm that's going on. They're all half notes. And it's the same pattern for both sets, 4 measures. In the first set of the first 4 measures, I keep the left hand very legato and do the separation in the right. And that way you have this underlying harmonic structure that stays steady. But in the fourth measure where I breathe, I also breathe with the left hand so that it sounds together. And then the 2 notes at the end of the phrase come together. So that's the first half. The second half starts out loud. If I sing it, it's going to be feels like this. Notice the circular motion of that. You want to have that circular motion in your piano playing as well. So when you hit the first note, you roll it to the other notes, and that creates the circle. You drop your finger, the second finger onto the G with letting it just fall, and then you roll it around, and then you let it fall, and you roll it around. Fall, circle, fall, circle. So just like the singing feels circular in the motion of the singing, the piano also needs to be in a circular motion. I'm going to go ahead and play that first movement all the way through. And now I don't want to make this video too long because I think we only have so much time on our hands. So I'm not going to, so the other 2 pieces I'm going to do in a separate video. But it's important that we learn how to breathe as a piano player so that when we play, we are also giving the music air. And that's where the singing is helpful. I'm going to sing the second half with the meter. 1 and 2 and 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 1 and. Now I'm going to do that again. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. I did it wrong both times. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and. Third time's a charm. 1 and 2 and 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 1 and. Now there's another thing that happens when you sing. You have to use your breath, and you have to move, you have to lift up and move the air. When you're playing the piano and you're thinking of the singing, you tend then to give more energy to the notes that you're going to play. I will try to demonstrate. notice how this, the last four measures is crescendoing and then decrescendoing. If you were singing it, again, a circle. Here's the whole thing. Notice how the left hand being legato allows the breathing in the right hand to still have a sense of flow. Okay, well that's my first video, and I hope you enjoyed it and come back to hear the next part.